Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. WWE Clash of Champions 2020 is this Sunday. Going to go through and give you my predictions for the show for you right now. There's some matches I'm quite looking forward to, but there is quite a few rematches here. So I do feel in some places it is a bit lackluster, but I do promise to try and trim it down and keep those predictions quite short and keep things more upbeat for the more positive matches. But as always, we do start off with the kickoff match, and I'm surprised this match was put on the kickoff. It's the RAW Women's Championship. It's Asuka against Zelina Vega. Now, Asuka being on the kickoff is the main surprise for me in this part, but I'm kind of enjoying what they're doing with the RAW Women's division at the moment. I like the fact that it's sort of freshening up. Some new faces seem to be getting opportunities. I like there's a video package for Bianca Belair. Peyton Royce is sort of going to start to go on a singles push on her own. She wasn't beaten clean by Asuka on Raw. Room for a rematch somewhere later down the line. But Zelina Vega, at this particular moment, she's off doing her own thing now. She's broken off from Andrade and Angel Garza. We'll come onto them later in the video. But Zelina Vega, she's a great talker. She can really carry herself. I think that she's got a great future ahead in the women's division in WWE. I would say that a match on Raw Mickie James wasn't perfect, but I do think she can go in the ring, and I do think that she will be, creditable in this division. What I would say is, though, is that she's not been built up, and I think that that's what's going to be her downfall here. I mean, if you look at things with Zelina Vega, it should have been winning for 2 or 3 months straight and been put in this position. You'd say worthy #1 contender, but it feels like she's been thrown in here. She's won one singles match, okay, against Mickie James, who was in the championship match the previous week on Raw, but I still don't feel it's enough to make me believe Zelina Vega will win here. Plus, this match being on the kickoff as well, a championship match, it just makes you think the champion is definitely going to retain. So Asuka, for me, will retain here the Raw Women's Championship. So at this moment, there's no other matches been put on the kickoff, so let's go to the main card. Street Profits against Angel Garza and Andrade for the millionth time for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Now, I do believe that this match is being done for the 8th or 9th time in 9 weeks. That tells you how much we've seen this match on TV. I don't believe we need to see it again. The only thing is now that Andrade and Angel Garza, will they actually be on the same page now they are without Zelina Vega? It would be a shock factor if they were to win the Tag Team Championships and go on to be a successful team from here. But there's been so much dissension between the two. I just think the Street Profits are going to retain here. I think the Profits are going to keep the belts until we have a draft, until we can freshen up the Raw Tag Team division, because right now it is in absolute pieces. And I do think, as a small prediction, that Robert Roode is expected to return in the next week or two. I think him and Dolph Ziggler will be future challengers for the belt. So for me, that makes more sense that the faces should keep the championships. United States Championship match, Bobby Lashley defending against Apollo Crews. This one's still going on as well, which is a bit of a surprise. Lashley now involved with the Hurt Business, who are heels at one moment but faces at another against Retribution. Bobby Lashley needs to look strong here for me. I think he should retain the belt here against Apollo Crews. Next, we'll look at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We've got the champions of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Lucha House Party. Lucha House Party have been losing all the way through into this, have been treated like jobbers. There's been dissension with Lince Dorado and Kalisto. I expect Kalisto to leave the group. I expect Lucha House Party to be almost a bit of a split. Certainly 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as they say here, if we go on Meatloaf's old famous song. But I do think that for that reason, we're going to have the champions retain here. We're seemingly getting a pattern so far. All the champions have retained their championships. One match that I'm not entirely sure that will be the case, though, is the triple threat ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, and the match I'm most excited for the entire evening. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Loving the way the storyline's been put together. It's been really well done. Sami Zayn coming back now after 6 months away. Of course, he vacated the championship, or was stripped of the championship for being away for so long. He says, well, look, I'm still the Intercontinental Champion. What's the problem here? I carry the belt. These guys were just placeholders while I was away. It makes such perfect sense. AJ Styles felt he was screwed because he took Jeff Hardy's leg out, and then he was actually hit by the brace that he took out on Jeff Hardy to lose the championship to Jeff Hardy. And of course that was accidental, but still leads to why all 3 of these guys are in this match. Jeff Hardy brings out the ladder as well perspective here, so that means we've got the ladder match. He wants it settled on this night. I did think we were initially going to get just a triple threat match, and it would go down to Hardy versus Zayn, and then we would have the singles ladder ladder match at the next pay-per-view, but it feels like, I guess, WWE probably want to get the ladder match done now because TLC is in December. Probably don't want to have too many ladder matches so close to each other. I'm guessing that's the reason why we have it here. Plus, it's a gimmick match. It's nice to have something to break up the show here, and I think that would be quite a nice touch for this pay-per-view. So I'm going to rule AJ Styles out. I don't see him actually winning the belt here. I think it's going to be Hardy or Zayn. Zayn would make sense because it would be almost freeing up Jeff Hardy for a future program with the likes of Roman Reigns somewhere down the line. But also at the same time as well with Sami Zayn, if he was to win it, he could be, saying that he was the original Intercontinental Champion all along. It continues with the feud with Jeff Hardy or goes on to something new. If Jeff Hardy retains, then Sami Zayn says, well, look, this wasn't a normal one-on-one match. I didn't agree to a ladder match. What are we doing? I need a straight-up one-on-one match, and then they can just have that at the next pay-per-view. That, for me, is the direction I think will happen. So I'm going to go for Jeff Hardy to retain. Have you noticed the pattern's still happening? Every champion has retained. But so far, this is the match that I think is most likely to have a new champion if we're going to. But I'm still going to go for Jeff Hardy to retain. Let's go for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We've got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan of the Riott Squad. It's good to see them on pay-per-view, good to see them in the championship match, but they have acted a bit cowardly to Jax and Baszler, and they're the baby faces, which makes you a bit worried going into this match. I, again, feel that it's too soon for the belts to change. Nia Jax and Baszler only won it at Backlash. Yes, they've been kind of the dysfunctional tag team, but this hasn't run its course as of yet. I expect the champions to retain. Let's go for SmackDown's Women's Championship. We've got Bayley against Nikki Cross. Now, Nikki Cross has been kind of obsessed with the SmackDown Women's Championship, but let's look at things here logically. The programs have been Bayley and Sasha Banks, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and I expect that's what we're going to continue after this. The only thing that links this together is that Nikki Cross, as I say, has been obsessed with the championship throughout the entire summer. I'm surprised we're getting this match one more time, but I think Alexa Bliss is going to cost Nikki Cross here, and I think that that's what's going to lead Bayley to retain the championship. Then they really can go into separate paths going forward and go into their natural feuds. As of recording, there is no 24/7 championship, which is quite interesting. No R-Truth match in here. It'll be interesting to see if they will probably have one or two small skits with him through the evening. But does the 24/7 championship even mean anything anymore if it's not involved on the event? It probably isn't anyway. But I thought I'd give a quick mention. As of time of recording, R-Truth hasn't got a match for this event. So there will be no 24/7 championship action unless we see some little skits going throughout the night. Next will be the Universal Championship. We're going to have Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, which is a surprising one here. Jey Uso won a fatal four-way to just randomly get himself in this match. I don't think anyone really thinks that Roman Reigns is losing here. So the Tribal Chief is going to retain the championship. But I do like the way they've done this in a way with the sort of character work for Roman Reigns, how he's been sort of tolerant of his cousin Jey Uso. They're like brothers. He's kind of tolerated him to his face, but behind him, you've seen his vicious, evil look, almost to the point that you see that Reigns wants to annihilate Jey, and I want to see that here at this pay-per-view. I want it to almost be a squash match. I don't think it will be. I think that they'll give Jey Uso a good outing, but I'd like to see a squash match. I'd like to see him absolutely annihilate Jey. I'd like the 1, 2, 3, and I'd like Roman to have him pulled up, head to the camera, look into the camera and say, I bet the family is proud of me now. It's just that killer heel line, and I think it would just work so well tastefully. It gives Roman that heel heat, and from there on, he can go on to a feud, most likely with The Fiend, going forward as we go in towards Hell in a Cell. So every champion has retained, and I hope this is a theme of the night, and I hope that it is made like this as we go into what I have as the main event, which is the WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, an ambulance match, which I think is a great touch. I've said for a long time that they should have matches like this used. It breaks things away. Now we're in the Amway Centre, we sort of have fans on the screens anyway. Things feel a bit more fresh and exciting, so it's not as in much of need for gimmick matches, but this one, it's been a long time, it's not been overdone. I do like the fact that they brought this gimmick in for this particular feud, because the last match between McIntyre and Orton that we had was at SummerSlam, of course, and no one used their finisher. Finishers galore have been on the build-up to this match, and both have been taken off in ambulances. Drew McIntyre's supposed to have a dislocated jaw going into this match as well. Randy Orton's been the heel. He's been attacking throughout, and he actually returned as well at the end of Raw this past week, hitting an RKO as well. Had a great promo as well leading into this match. It does make me believe in my head that Drew McIntyre is actually going to walk away the champion, but if it's built up the way I think it should be built up, then I think Randy Orton should walk away the WWE champion. I say this because I think Randy Orton's had a great 2020. He has been on top of the world, literally. Great programs with Edge, a great program with Drew McIntyre as well. Drew McIntyre's been carrying the company, been carrying that championship, and almost been built the brand around him on Raw. But it's going to be interesting. I think the draft will tell you a lot here, because if Drew loses, there is a chance he could be put on SmackDown. But I do think he will probably stay on Raw. I think Drew's moment will come again. I think he'll probably be someone that could be a contender for the Royal Rumble, maybe WrestleMania next year. And hopefully, if fans can be back at that point, I think Drew McIntyre could have his moment then. And I think they would have a second reign for him. If he beats Randy Orton here, I'm not sure where things go for going forward after this. So I think that it would make sense for a title change here. And plus, you can protect Drew McIntyre. He could go for the Claymore. He could miss it, just go into the ambulance, and then the door shuts. He hasn't got to be pinned 1, 2, 3. And I think that's the key thing here of what makes sense of why we could get a title change here. And then it could lead almost to another rematch at Hell in a Cell. So that's my predictions there for you then for Clash of Champions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think is going to walk away as champions? We will get many new champions. Will we see the champions retain? I'm interested to know your thoughts and look forward to interacting in the comments section. Please like and share the video as well. And just to say, we're near 550 subscribers. Last time I looked, I think we were on 539. So I'd love to hit that milestone. So please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell as well for when new videos are released. This Week in Wrestling will be coming later in the week. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you've been watching SCW, the wrestling channel, here on YouTube.com. All the best.